Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
What up, world? I want to welcome you to the conversations that we don't have, escaping Jezebel's web. I am your host, Kasaira Elvie, also known as Lady K. Here, this is a faith-led, healing-centered podcast where we talk about the conversations many women and men keep in silence. We talk about relationships, motherhood, fatherhood, faith, patterns, and personal growth. Here, we name the unhealthy cycles, speak truth without shame, and choose healing and freedom. These are the conversations we don't have until now. Let's go talk about it. What up, world? It's your girl, Kasaira Elvie, a.k.a. Lady K. This is Conversations We Don't Have, escaping Jezebel's web. So I am super excited to be back here again another Monday, and I have a guest. I know y'all ain't gotta hear me talk for a whole hour by myself. Ain't you glad? And she's not new to it, she's true to it. And I'm super excited and a little bit I don't really want to say nervous. It's like one of those, we're going to have a touchy conversation where we want to get everything across. And so I'm just like, let the Holy Spirit lead. How about that? I'm just going to say, let the Holy Spirit lead. We're also going to want to definitely hear from you guys. And I am about to bring on my guest. And her name is Marilyn Okoye. Welcome to my other show.
Hey, girl. Hey, I am glad to be here. How are you?
I am good. Today is a good day.
Amen to that.
Today is a good day.
Yes,
and
indeed.
So we want to let you all know what the episode is about. It's the mothers and son wounds we don't talk about. How many of you can say, and we have Mother's Day tomorrow, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and all the what's the proper terminology? Because some people are not.
We got moms, we got bonus moms, we got nurturers,
yes.
Right? We got it all. Okay.
Yep. And so we want to talk about some things that I remember when me and Marilyn was talking, I was going through some things with my son, and we had some things in common, and I felt so relieved that I went along. But these are things that we really kind of don't talk out loud about. Friction between sons, because I was told that, the son, we're the first love of their lives, right?
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to dive into just some things about that. And one thing, we just still want to be sensitive to everybody, even some moms and then sons. My son, he already know, because he's got to be on my show, because we got some things to talk about, and he's ready. We have to wait around some things, but he's ready. So I'm excited about that. But before we get into the real topic, I know you, The Truth Podcast shows know you, but my new followers too, with Conversations We Don't Have, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, what's up, you guys? So my name is Marilyn Okoye. I'm a mental wellness advocate, and I help individuals embrace their mental wellness journey without shame, stigma, or silence. Too often, in our homes, in our communities, and dare I say, even in the church, we, especially back in the day, it was just a taboo subject when we talked about our mental health and our mental well-being. And so having, as a person with lived experience of depression, I said no to that conversation, that thought, and all of that. And I love to share my story, and I love to encourage others to say, hey, we can do this. We can walk in our healing. Yes, it takes time, but we can do it without shame, without stigma, without silence.
And with all of that, I do want to bring up. I wanted you to talk about also your lovely background too with your journal. If we can talk about a little bit about that and maybe give them where they can purchase it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, so overcoming this one here is overcoming is the action word journal. And so that right there has become my platform. When this journey first started with me, it became, I am an overcomer. Um, to overcoming is an action word, meaning that as I overcame depression and I began to walk in my healing process, I realized that it's a daily walk. And so I am an overcomer. Action word journal is just that. It's a journal that gives you writing prompts of action along with different poems and other things in there that you can just learn how to, for example, everyday therapy. There's some things that talk about that, taking a walk, getting out in the sun, those simple steps. So it's a 30-day journal that you can use to just jumpstart your healing process.
All right. I also want to show your book too. Want to show you
So,
all.
and this one right here, I really call this like my it's like my testimonial because when I wrote this book and when I was going through depression, I was in the church, you know, serving and doing all these things, but it was such a taboo subject that I was ashamed and I was embarrassed to talk about it. And so,
Mhm.
what this book does, or what it did for me, is it allowed me to search the scriptures for myself and understand what the word said about depression. And there are people who lived in biblical times who experienced depression, even to the point of, dare I say, wanting to end their life.
Mhm.
But God, had a word for them. And so he had a word for me. And so he has a word for those of you who are listening. And so that's what that book was about for me. And I just call it like my testimonial.
Love it. I love it. And how can they contact you or if they're interested in purchasing the journal or the book?
Yeah, thanks. So the book, the journal, and I also have a coloring book too, can be found on Amazon.com. And you can just Google, search Amazon, put my name in there and all of them will come up. You can follow me on Instagram, where I love to just post inspirational messages and different things that's going on to just keep us all encouraged. Get ready for this now, because I have to say it in letters. The letter U, the letter R, the letter ANCMROVR, which is saying you are an overcomer.
Love it. And I'm pulling up right now your coloring book, by the way.
Oh,
That's what I mean. I was like, why did they pull that up too? So I just want them to, where did it go? Here we go. There it is. I have to put it up there.
yeah. So the coloring book, again, overcoming is an action word from A through Z. I just went and found those words A through Z that speak action and affirmation to our lives. And there are also some writing prompts to encourage us. So, for example, I don't think this is the first word in there, but for letter A, let's just say amazing. So, what is it that you see in yourself that is amazing, or what amazing thing did you do today? So those type of writing prompts to just keep us encouraged and moving forward and putting that action to who we are.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you so much for letting me
And this is
share
something,
that.
the topic for that goes perfect with even how we deal with our sons. And so we picked out a couple of questions that we want to discuss. And we definitely want you all to chime in and comment and get my comment screen up. If you want to comment, please do so. But one of the questions that we first want to start off with, and if you see what the title is, we're talking about wounds, right? We really don't talk about these type of things that really go on in the world and society today with the kids. And the first thing that we was kind of thinking of, the question I'm about to pull up, that was, can divorce, breakups, or dating choices affect how sons see their mothers?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I think that, for the most part, the answer is going to be yes, because oftentimes we hear, and I think we experience this too, that uh, the mom is the son's first female love.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Right.
so, depending on, how things happen in these different situations, the son, I think, will see the mom differently, or and what I mean by that, so for example, in the divorce setting, right,
Yeah.
let's say, it was unfortunately the mom who wanted out of this relationship or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, then the son, may see the mom as, abandoning the family or something like that, right? Or
Yeah.
if it's an unfortunate abusive relationship, whether that is the husband that ended in divorce, or the mom ends up in another dating relationship that has those same unfortunate factors, then the son is looking like, why, is my mom letting a particular person treat, her that
Yeah.
way? And the son may, could possibly begin to think, okay, this is how, I'm supposed to treat
Supposed to
my
be.
mom and or other women. And the
Mm-hmm.
son, so those things can, impact how a son sees his mom, in those relationships. But at the same time, let me just add this component of it. Let's say again, with the divorce, it's not, the best situation for the mom, or a relationship, or what have you, and the mom has stood her ground to say, no, I'm not going
Yeah.
to accept this type of
Accept this
behavior
anymore.
from
Mm-hmm.
you or anyone else. And then, that could have that positive impact on how the son sees the mom.
Yeah.
So I say
I
yes,
think,
both
and,
ways.
and with me too. And here's one thing I view, right? So I was with my son's father long time, 10 years. And then I transitioned from that as a young person, knowing that was not a good fit for us. And I got with someone, I brought another man in his life that actually, I don't want to take that away from my ex-husband, but at the beginning, he was a great stepfather, taught him all type of things, riding a bike, not being scared, going out playing, ball with him and things like that. So I bring this man in his life that, he doesn't see his father like that. And I said his father wasn't there, but, we live in the same household. And so when me and my ex-husband was about to divorce, I mean, we separated, that hurt my son. And here's the
Mhm.
right. Well, he already dealt with the mistreatment of watching me being mistreated, but he was being treated well, so it wasn't too much. And then I was being the one like, oh, well, it's okay. But when that happened, like turmoil, he was like, I don't care who you date. If I don't like him, I'm not gonna get close to him ever again. I'm not gonna call him a daddy. And it was like, okay. And then it was anger, like, mom, like, why? And it's like, mama need love too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And to a similar point, when my husband and I, when we divorced, so my children, my oldest, my daughter 12, my son, I think was like 7, and then we had a baby. So I actually did not start dating until it was like 8 years. I didn't, I was really hurting,
Mm-hmm.
I was, depressed, and I was going through a lot of different things that I didn't want to add that to the mix, so to speak. And so
Yeah.
my son, he was actually about, so that would make him, somewhere between 14 and 15 when I started dating, with the youngest being about 8 or 9. And so they were especially my older 2 children, they were kind of happy for me, to see me uh
Move
just
on.
having a
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Having a life. So they were happy, but at the same time though, I do believe, like I was saying, that it can affect, a son's way that he sees his mom, whether it's a divorce or dating or something like that.
And I think this goes great with the next question that we had picked. And it says, why do some sons become emotionally distant from their mothers? Now, with me, I mean, I think majority in a good way too. Uh, us all experiencing. I was telling you, my son was 7 years old, getting ready to go on the bus. We're at the bus stop. I used to always give him a hug and kiss. And it was that time, it was like, Mommy, no, my friends, you're going to embarrass me. And that was the first time I was like, oh, no, you're going to hug me. You know,
right?
But it started like, I think for me, I think it's once they start getting, depending on their personality, because we have, I talked about this too. Some sons, I believe, are nurturers and some are just boys. And what I mean by that, some nurturers, they want to cook clean and they take it. And the other boys, they just want to play video games. They don't want to play. They ain't got time to be babysitting. They're not that type of people, right? And that's my son. Right. So when he got older, everything was different. He wanted to play games, video. So it was that. I think that's where sometimes the emotional, it starts to draw away from you, you know? And sometimes with me, I'm still forcing all the love. You gonna love me? You gonna give me mommy a kiss and hug? You know, he like, Ma, cool it. And it's like, what?
Right. I agree. I think, you know, at some point around a certain age, you know, these things start to happen. Some of it is just like you're talking about. It's this natural progression of a male child growing up. Their interest has changed. They no longer want to be cuddled in front of their friends because, you know, they thinking their friends are saying something when they all really want it. They just don't want it in front of their friends and whatnot. And so, you know, those type of things begin to happen. But I also think sometimes it's associated with, and still with the growing up, but sometimes associated with some of maybe some not so good choices that our sons may make. And then that interaction, that opinion, that talking to whatever that is, that the mom, especially a single mom, you know, that and the dad is not active. So now, you know, you're trying to raise this man, you know, that, you know, either what you saw from your dad or other positive, you know, uncles and male role models, and teach them these things. And, you know, they looking like, you know, I don't want to hear that. I'm, you know, I'm at this, you know, they thinking I'm, you know, I'm going to do what I'm going to do and stuff like that. And so I think that, you know, kind of causes that friction too, as well. And it's just a natural progression of things. Like you said, it's that, you know, that relationship you had when they was just, you know, they was your little buddy and all of that. Now they're getting older, you know, they don't want, you know, their other friends to see this. They don't want to get teased. But then also there are the situations.
And it's because they're not getting the love.
Right. The situations about of life that happens. And, you know, some of those situations are unfortunate, not the best choice, you know, for that male child. And then as a mom, a loving mom, where you don't want to see them going down a certain path. And now you're starting to, you know, say some things, hold them accountable, whatever that may be. And now that distance, that separation, all of that pushback and those type of things, you know, happens as well.
Yeah. And I was thinking, and what I've witnessed was some, because when you were saying being a single mom, and that's how I was, like, I was trying to build morals and respect and what I probably thought a man should be. But I also told my son, I can't teach you how to be a man, but I can teach you how to be a responsible adult.
Exactly.
And then I have women know that raise, like I say, a single parent, single mom raising her son. You know, they used to probably some make them detach emotionally because they're like, stop crying. You're not no girl. Man up. You know, they do that. And that may make emotional detachment as well. I mean, that wasn't me, but I think of other single moms that have difficulty with their sons too, is like, they're trying to teach them to stay manly. You know, we can't tell them beat me no man.
Right. And not even, and that's a good point, because some, you know, moms, yes, you know, right. And I can agree with that. But oftentimes it's men and or society in general that puts that messaging out there, you know, man up, men don't cry, and da 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 da. And then so now you begin to believe this, and whatever is going on in the brain, you know, when you're hearing this type of messaging, that type of sensitivity begins to be suppressed, and even toward your mom and things like that. So I agree with you, in that point too. Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, I that was a good one because, I remember my son when he told me that, and I was like, boy, I ain't trying to make you no man. Let me make you a responsible adult. How about that?
Yeah, I used to always tell man, look, be respectful and respectable, okay?
Oh, I know that's right. We got another one that ties right into, do sons sometimes carry anger from childhood into adulthood? And I say hell to the yeah.
And I say, exactly. I mean, they do, because again, it's so many different factors. It's the relationship with the dad, it's relationship with the mom, and it's societal, especially I think, for our Black males, that happens, and that suppression. You got to man up. You can't let them see you cry and all of that stuff. Oh yes. Now you got all of these emotions for different things that have happened with your mom, and conversations or disagreements that have happened. You got this pent up anger emotion that you can't express. And so of course that's going to translate in carry over into adulthood.
Yeah. Especially they already have resentment. I know. Yeah, my son was like, I was so controlling, and I have to have a show, because I met another person that didn't believe in spanking or whooping their kids. I did, right? And I remember when he got older, it was one of those things where he a man, a male, I'm this woman. I gotta make sure I put fear into you to let you bet not try me. I don't care how big or how tall or small you are, you bet not. And I think that is kind of wrong, because one of the things my son remember is like, Mom, like, you was all on me. And if now we get into an argument, now he's trying to be my equal. And then I'm sitting here like, excuse me, you are not my equal. But he was like in his own protective mode, like, I'm a grown man now. You can't talk to me like that. You can't do that to me, So that was one of the things that I had to deal with that anger right there, And
I was a yeller, and I was also my kids would say that, I was controlling it and things like that, which I was. Some of, overprotective and all of those things, which, can come from some of the, experience that, because my mom was very old. Both my parents were really, especially with me as a girl, they were really overprotective. It got on my nerve. I'm not going to even lie. But then translated into my parenting, especially as a young parent early on and stuff. And so I was those things as well. And then you're right, the son, trying to grow up and be this man. And then me, a single mom, the dad is no longer in the house or something like that. And now, I got to tell this young man that's, standing, like this over me and whatnot, like, no, not so, sir. Soldier, stand down, and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, so they just, all this is going on with them, because it's like the world is giving it to them, or society is giving it to them. And now my mom is giving it to me too. And so, I got this struggle of stuff going on inside of me, and how do I relate or connect or this with that, with my own mother and stuff. And they have these things festering in on the inside of them too, as well.
Yeah. Because like you said, when we think about the things that we have, what's the word I want? We have, it's an easy word I'm trying to say. We've brought into their lives. That ain't the word I'm trying to use, but I'm saying that our situations or mistakes or not mistakes or things that they saw growing up as well. Because I know with my son too, he would have wanted more of his father, real father. Even though the stepfather was there, he still would prefer to have his real father. Right. And I think those are things too that we go with, because
absolutely
just told me.
Yeah. You're looking for that you're looking for that like that confirmation, that affirmation, that thing from your biological dad or something like that.
He said, Mom, I think you and your dad should get back together. He out here older now. I was like, hell no. We never. You're about to be 23. No, I'm good. No, no, we could be friends. No, you have to learn from your mistakes, period. Healing from those things. But
yeah,
I know I let my son see some things like fighting with his father too. So I didn't portray a good, healthy relationship at first in front of him, though, right? Mm-hmm. And also at that time, we didn't understand what emotional intelligence was. Nobody really was talking about that. We didn't know what abuse was. We didn't really talk about that. You was getting smacked up, punched up. That's what they thought. And that's not the abuse that I was going through. So, things like that now you see. Or I remember once I started to heal and I was rooting them up to another city, that brought a lot of baggage and backlash, because I just said my son was 16, 17. He's like, no, I don't want to move to Kankakee. You take me from my family. So the anger does happen. But here's one of the things that I used to say too, and I know we're going to get deeper into the conversation about it. Once you find out what the problem is, you're responsible trying to fix it. But I know we got a question. We're going to get on that, but that just made me think about that.
And you know what? I want to say, like, for me, so my kids, they never really saw, me and my husband argue or fight or whatever. We had our discussions and stuff like that, right? So they never, I also was the disciplinarian. So they did see that. But when the marriage ended, when that break happened, there was this, my own, my anger, my hurt, my disappointment, so many things that's bubbling up on me. And like you said, not understanding or walking and healing and all these things. So now that's spilling out, onto, my kids and my son and the impact, that's having on him as he see me as his mom, lady.
Yeah. No, seriously. Well, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Marilyn talking about what we're talking about, the mother and son wounds that we don't talk about. So we'll be right back.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all. Race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
What up, world? I want to welcome you to the conversations that we don't have, escaping Jezebel's web. I am your host, Kasyra Elvie, also known as Lady K. Here, this is a faith-led, healing-centered podcast where we talk about the conversations many women and men keep in silence. We talk about relationships, motherhood, fatherhood, faith, patterns, and personal growth. Here, we name the unhealthy cycles, speak truth without shame, and choose healing and freedom. These are the conversations we don't have until now. Let's go talk about it. All right, welcome back to Conversations We Don't Have. I'm your girl, Kasyra Elvie, aka Lady K, and my guest that we have today is Marilyn Okoye.
Hey.
And so we were still talking about the mother and son wounds we don't talk about. And so we had a couple of questions that we decided to pick. I love Chat GPT. I was like, Chat, this is what I want to talk about. What kind of questions? And it was great. And so we're just talking about some things, and I just feel like sometimes there's a disconnect with sons. And I know we got daughters too, because I have an issue with my little daughter. But the other ones, my other daughters, we all are fine, cool, get along. I mean, well, they're only 10, 11, but they still like me. I mean, we going to that little journey, you know, when it's almost the preteens and all that stuff. But yeah, but with my son, I remember, because I'm not gonna lie, I see some other moms and sons, or I hear sons talk about their mom, and I'm just like, right? It's like, oh,
Absolutely.
You know, like
Yeah.
where did the connect come? But one of the questions I want to go. I love God, because I didn't know that was up there. We say, why do some mothers feel unappreciated by their sons after sacrificing so much? I'm gonna let you go first.
That one right there probably is a whole a podcast by itself. But yeah, so you know, my son, we I don't even know where to begin. But yeah, we have it's a tough relationship, right? And I felt at times, you know, even when he was what I would think was like the worst or the meanest or disrespectful, all of those different things, yet I felt like, you know, I stood there, you know, with him, by him, did my best to support him, put things in place to try to help him, all of these, you know, different things. But sometimes it was just like a slap in the face. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was like a slap in the face. And I'm just like, you know, what do I do? You know, why? You know, I just turned around, you asked for this or whatever, or you didn't ask for it, but, you know, I did it, saw it as something that could help you in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. And then you turn around and it's just like a slap in the face. And I'm just like, you know, why? How do I deal with this? You know, what do I do? Because it was, I mean, it's hard, you know, as a mom, when you're doing for any of your children.
Yeah.
And you know, then you turn around and you don't, you know, it doesn't feel like you're appreciated or they're grateful or something. Because they, especially if it's working for their good, they're gonna take everything that, you know, you're putting in their direction to help them out of whatever situation. You know, whether it's, you know, money, physical things, conversation or advice or something, they're gonna take it. And then sometimes it seems like they just turn around and bust you right upside your head. You said or did anything. And that was the thing that, I mean, I struggled. When I say I struggled with that for a very, very, very long time. Very, and I mean very long time, because we had and still do. It's better, but you know, at any moment it could, you know, flip or whatever. But it was hard, and we had a tough relationship. And there was, again, a lot of yelling and screaming. Part of it was in the midst of me going through my own stuff, And part of it, I'm sure, was in the midst of him going through his stuff as well. And, you know, neither of us understanding that. And so there are plenty, even with my girls, you know, there are plenty times, and I'm sure there are some mothers that are listening to us now that know exactly what we're talking about and have unfortunately experienced that. But I'm grateful, or I think a part of that journey, we learned that that's, you know, what it is.
Yeah.
That sometimes, you know, the kids, they just don't, our sons, they just don't appreciate, you know, their moms and the love and the care and the concern, or even the correction that we have to, you know, put out there and give. And at times it can, you know, it can and has been heartbreaking for me, you know, but I am so grateful. And I think that's going to come up. I'm not going to put my secret out there, right? How I, you know, was able to, but I'm grateful that, you know, I mean, it's a process, you know, as life is, it's always happening, changing process like that. So I'm glad, you know, and the audience, you're gonna hear this, and it's real simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. But yeah, I mean, it's a heartbreaker, you know, for you to do these things, you know, for our boys, and then they just turn around and, like I said, slap you in the face, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
You know, you're not just what?
No. And I think like when it comes to my baby, my son, well, let's see, there it goes. It's probably, so you still don't see, it's like my son, he gets good genes from both sides of the family. And so he looks like he's probably 15 years old and he'd be 23. So those are things that we have to do. I have to deal with as he being grown. And before I go into mine, hi, Sister Michelle. Thank you for joining. She says, so true. Many sons don't appreciate their mothers enough. Yes, absolutely. I want to put that comment out there. And so I remember when it was time for me to do certain things for my kids. So my thing was the time I was able to buy clothes, stack them up, income tax time, right?
Yeah.
So I used to make sure I got them clothes, got older, started picking things out. And I used to, when I was young, even when I gave them like plate of food or whatever, I already started them saying, thank you, Mom, or, you know, so they was used to that. But when Christmas or birthday or whatever I had, I ain't getting nothing. This is the first Mother's Day, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, that my three of my kids really are doing their thing. But what I used to be mad about was, I'm trying to teach you something, right? And then you'd be like, no, I already know, I got it. No, Ma, you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and I'm getting something real simple that I was like, oh my God. But then you come to me and was like, Ma, what do they mean mail off a letter? You don't know how to write an envelope out? You know, they want to come to you when they need something.
Right,
but then
right.
They won't, right. And
right.
So when me and him was going through it, I'm saying, this is what I'm doing for you. And he'd say, but I didn't ask you though.
Oh boy, don't.
That's what I hate. I didn't ask you. Well, you so didn't say no. You didn't want to take it.
You don't have to ask me. I'm your mother. You know, but at the same time, you didn't ask me, but the provision was made. So act like it.
Yeah, I think there's sometimes they lose a lack of respect. The older they get, they get a lack of respect. Because that I'm not gonna lie, that word right there used to make me mad. I didn't ask you.
Yes, that makes me mad still to this day. I'm not gonna. It burns me up when you know, someone talk about what you know. I mean, well, I don't say someone, but when your kids say, "I didn't ask you." Because you know why you didn't? Because you don't have to. Because I'm a mother who cares, can see, who has wisdom, and all of these different things, and therefore will do what needs to be done. So whether you asked or not, you know, and then you know, again, come around and I'm gonna stop slapping myself, but that's what it is. It's a slap in the face.
I know you're probably heavy-handed,
right? And it hurts, and it breaks your heart, you know. Yeah, you've done that, and
because you sacrifice. I remember Maybe I was 7 months pregnant. Okay, it did go for both my older kids because the little ones, I was pregnant with the third one, and I remember I was working for my Chicagoland area peoples. I was living in suburbs, still living in Hazel Crest. I was living on Wood Street. Okay, and y'all know how close Wood Street is. I'll give you another. I was by, I don't know, I want to say close to house, but not really. Dixie Highway. I'm trying to give y'all the stretch that I was about to do.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at Home Depot, just started, and I had to go to work, didn't want to lose my job, didn't have no car, couldn't find me a ride. I took one of my stepson's bikes. Okay, we're talking about probably a bike made for a 13-year-old, y'all, 12, 13-year-old. And I was about to go to Home Depot in Alsip on 121st and Cicero.
Yeah.
Big as a house. About to ride a bike. So when I hear my kids say something, maybe man, I'd be like, or they say you wasn't there for me like that, or you didn't do this, and it was like, do you know what I did as a pregnant woman? Like, and those are things that make you think, like you say, it hurt my feelings because it's like, dang, like how you don't see I love you, or why are we going through this? Right. When all I've done was show you how to sacrifice.
Yeah. And some of it when you know, I mean, I'm not trying to defend them, but some of it when they're younger, that's just it. They're younger, but okay, you're not young all your life, you know. And you know, different things happen, and again, you just think about the fight, the sacrifices, you know, to get your child in a particular program or a particular school, or just to stand up for them just in general.
Yeah.
And then, you know, again, they turn around and, you know,
I'm telling you. I had a friend tell me,
goodness.
Because I'm okay. So everybody know I've said this even on this podcast that I dealt with gun violence. I did deal with my son, and me and my son are ready to talk about it now. But I'm going to tell this little piece of it because we went to our appreciation too, when I was all kind of da-da-da-da's, but I got you out of something and help you correct the mistake you made that was against me. And I'm still suffering. I have to relocate now. You know, I'm already, and this was it was comfortable for me at this time. And so, dang, I lost my train of thought, what I was going to say. But with my son, and we was talking about, I'm just going to bring the question up because I forgot my train of thought to come back, but it's around what the question is. And it says, and the question that I love, that it said, can a son love his mother but still feel emotionally disconnected? And I'm going to say yes. And here's why. And it's part why. Even though my son did what he did to me, at that moment of anger, at that moment of name calling and all of that, after it was all said and done and everything died back down, my son still come and say, I love you. I'm sorry. And so my thing is like, as a mother, there we go, I get weak. Oh, that's what I'm talking about, my friend. There we go. They bring it up. And I'm like, mad at first. First of all, it's like grief. Because now I'm shocked. Now I'm hurt. Now I'm scared. Now I'm angry again. And now I'm a mom.
Absolutely. And
so I told her, like, all right, cool. I accept your apology. I will forgive you. But I need to see action now. Mm-hmm. I don't want to keep hearing I'm sorry, because now it went too far. Ain't no more. I don't want to hear words. And so I had a friend, and we were about to hang out, and my friend was like, you may forgive him because y'all the mother and you're soft. But for me, and if I was his father, he deserves to get knocked out. And he was like, I'm not ready yet. And I was like, wow. And we think about that, when my kids, I do become a little more quick to forgive. Or maybe all mothers, we forgive our kids, and a father will. Because I know some men that still hold grudges, or they are stern.
I don't know how they do it, but men can't hold grudges. Some women can too, but men, they can definitely hold some grudges and stuff like that. But I wanted to say, kind of conceptually, to what you were saying about, you know, your son in the situation. A couple of years, well, it's been more than a couple of years now, I think. But my son, and we had just got into it about something. I don't quite remember what it was. But when I say, you know, for the 500th time, he was done with me, you know, as he would say it, and not so pretty words, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, I was in a car accident. My daughter and I, we got hit almost head on in a car accident. I didn't tell him this in the midst of him cussing me out and telling me how I feel and what I was and what I wasn't. I never said anything. But I think maybe his dad might have mentioned it to him. And interestingly enough, like the next day or whenever he found out, it was a day or two later, he called me with such care and concern. I almost couldn't believe it. You
Yeah.
had an accident.
At that
You know,
moment.
you okay? And this stuff. And I'm just sitting, I'm literally looking at the phone like 2 days ago, you really just went at me, and I was this, that, and a third. And now you care. So, to your point, yes, the son can, love, but have this disconnect at the same time,
Yeah.
I think, because they don't, it's like they're mad for whatever their reasons are. And some of them are, I'm not going to even say, some of them can be valid, but at the same time, they don't want to see, their mom, like suffer some real, tragedy or something. They don't want that. They just want to be mad and express that or whatever that is or something.
Yeah.
But it was, I really couldn't believe it. He was, just went off on me. And then like 2 days later, are you okay? And I'm like, I was wondering, what do you mean am I okay? And he wasn't asking about what he said. He was, concerned about the car accident.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
again, the point.
And I like what you said, even when we explain the depth of the sacrifices, they don't understand. And Sister Michelle, that is so true. Because as mother, because I'm a holler too, I go back and say, you know what I did this, and you mean you gonna do that. Yeah, so I do see that when we do that. And when it's a disconnect, I don't even understand, because it's like I would hear my son, like if he's with his friends, I'll call him a couple times, and the things that I instilled in him, like life not chess, it's life like chess not checkers, things like that, or he does talk about me. So it's like, I hear you bragging about me, or you hear the things that I have been installing in you, but then you go here and you got attitude. You can't even talk to me.
Exactly. I've experienced that too.
Is it the generation? Is it the generation where they think that they can speak to elders as they equals? And I mean, like, I'm about to be 43, and I'm not going to talk to my mom like I would talk to, well, we're not friends, but because I got aunties, I'd be like, auntie. But I'm saying, like, it's a level or a certain language or certain way. I will not do that in front of my elders. I just can't. Or am I going?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Talk to you like, no.
Yeah.
No.
I agree with you on that. That, I think these young people today, that type of respect that we learn, and it's important and it's worth it. Sometimes they talk about they don't deserve respect. They don't respect me or something like that.
Yeah,
you are a young person, and it's not about but there's just some things that you just don't know and you don't understand, and you won't understand it until you have lived some time. And so it's not a matter of someone disrespecting you, although that's real. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to make it sound like that, but at times, no, you respect your elders. That's a time tested thing that should never be put on the back burner.
And Sister Michelle said it right too.
Elders,
yeah. And they fall from a mature and active fathers.
Right.
Well, I guess they go to blame on us too, because we chose their fathers.
Yeah.
You picked them. Yeah, I did. I didn't realize. But that's a good quote right there, because if they were able to see a healthy man that's emotionally intelligent, that that's true.
Yeah.
And because we almost, I thought we was gonna go overtime, but I am so glad, because after we done complained a little bit, y'all, about our sons, we gonna talk about what did we learn. And here's the question. I'm about to pull the question up, but the question that we put in is a 2 questions together, and that is, how do we stop repeating unhealthy family cycles? What boundaries are healthy in a mother and son relationship? I want to go with this. I'm gonna start first. Let me see. So when I was telling Marilyn, I said I'm looking at generational reoccurrences, because I don't want to say curse, because I look back, my mom and my brother into it. You know, I remember my grandmother and my uncle. They didn't have a real. I mean, they had a relationship, but probably like how me and my son is. And I was like, this got to stop. And I already saw it. And I see that sometimes me trying to do certain things differently, it still brings up some type of, it ain't working. I'm like, this failed when I saw what they did, so I'm gonna do it this way. And it's like, what is? And I know sometimes we spiritual, we say we know it's biblical too. But what I had to learn was really to accept my son for who he was, because I have to remember my background, right? So I was born in Christianity. I was born as being a good person, doing the right thing. And when we talk about control, my son, when he was 17, we had a family meeting. He said, Mom, he said, no, 16, I think it was. He said, I think you are so controlling that you don't even allow me to make mistakes. Like, you be on me and you don't even allow me. And I have to listen to that. He's like, even when the girls I date, and I was like, oh, he ain't lied about that. Because we worry about that. And so one of the things I had to learn was, one, I got to love you for who you are. You're a good person. And I got to learn you. That's one thing I think as a parent, as being a grown-up child, right? I would tell my mom and them, y'all don't know me. And I had to think like, my son's like, that ain't me, you don't know me. And it was like, you know what? Certain things I do know about you, but you're right. Maybe I don't know. So learn to love and respect them for who they are, and stop trying to force what I think he should be like, because I know how that feel.
Absolutely.
And then boundaries. That's one thing I learned now too. I'm not going to tolerate what you talking to me any kind of way, even jokingly. Well, nah. Like if I see it go left, I'm gone. You be disrespectful, I'm done. Because we learned that, and I was talking about this, y'all. I'm tired of dysfunctional, toxic love and family members. I'm going to say that. And we have to learn that we have the right to remove ourselves from anyone that causes us any type of friction, pain, disrupts my peace. I have the right to, because boundaries mean you're going to respect me. And if you respect me, I respect you. And that's where I think the love will be bond. It has to be respect. And I remember a long time ago, God gave me love, honor, respect. That's real love. Love, honor, respect. If I love you, then how did I say it? If I respect you, that means I'm honoring you. If I do both of those things, I mean I truly do love you. That's how we do God. God said, So that's my viewpoint on how to set healthy boundaries and not be guilty or feel guilty. That was another part for me, not feeling guilty. If I walk away, I gotta stay away, because as I'm the type of mother, I'll say one thing, even quick thing. You on punishment for a whole week, and a few hours later, you ain't gotta be on punishment. So I need to be consistent with my boundaries so they can understand and know I mean what I mean. I say what I say.
Right. Yeah. For me, I'm going to put this word out there. I say it all the time. This is a very powerful word. It's a very simple word. It's not always easy to do. But when it comes to those unhealthy family cycles, when it comes to those boundaries, and when it comes to healing from the experiences that we have with our parents, with our children, with our siblings and things like that, is choice. Now, that word, when I say choice, I'm talking about me. It's a choice that I make, because I can't make it for kids, young kids. Yes, you can make that. But as we were talking, and those for our sons, and that behavior, that level of disrespect, and those things that transfer over into their adulthood, and they still want to come at us in a particular way, I have a choice in the matter. They got a choice in the matter too. And that might be that disrespect or that anger and all of those different things, because truth be told, there's some healing for them that needs to take place as well. But for me and my healing, I make a choice. And that is, I'm not accepting that. Like you said, I'm not accepting that anymore. So the times when my son snapped off on me and maybe he was making a choice too, and like he called himself not talking to me anymore. Well, mine is a more intentional choice. When you come at me that way, I make a choice to step back because my well-being and all of that is more important than me, coming back at you at the same way. And it doesn't mean that I don't love you, because I do. But for my own well-being, I'm no good if I'm, all whatever in my own mind. So I make a choice. Hey, I'm gonna be quiet. You keep on feeling what you're feeling. And when you're ready to talk, as an adult or about the situation, honestly, then we'll do that. And we have done that. We've had some conversations where he understood some stuff about me and I understood some stuff about him. But when it comes to that, hands off. Then the thing that I love that I learned about boundaries, boundaries, they're for me. I don't even have to tell you what my boundaries are, but I can operate in my boundaries and I can walk, again in my healing by setting those boundaries and making those choices not to, get so caught up and angry. I'm not going to talk to you that way. And you're not going to talk to me. I'm going to show you an example because I'm going to be quiet. I choose to be quiet, and I'm going to keep it just like that. It's not easy, when you decide to make those type of choices, but you can do it for yourself. You can't do it for everybody. You can do it for yourself though. And that's what I choose to do, when it comes to that. And when it comes to my son, because it's not always easy. And he can be very angry with me and upset and all of these things. And I just step back, and then when I feel like I'm, ready to move forward, then I choose to reach out, see how the conversation go. Things have settled, great. We'll see what we can do from that. And if it hasn't, then I'll step back. But one thing I will never do or never stop doing, and I don't think you will either, and that is to continue to fight for our sons. I think we're going to continue to fight for them as long as we have breath in our bodies. We're going to fight for our sons, and we're going to hope and pray. And I'm hoping and praying, just as I'm walking into my healing, that my son will walk into his, and that your son will walk into his.
Yeah.
And you will continue to walk in yours.
Yeah, because that's another thing that I see that honestly drives me crazy. I got all these resources. I'm doing the work on healing myself. I'm acknowledging these things. And then the people that's closest to you that need it themselves, they don't use it. And it'd be like, why? Come on here. If I know there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. But it's a time, I guess it's a time and a place, for each one of us, to accept, like, I think that's something you had talked about, accept, recognize, but we can only do it for ourselves, and the next person has to do it, for themselves,
Well, I thank you for having this conversation with me and being open about your situation. And I hope y'all, for some of y'all that were watching it, realize you are not by yourself. And, we are still striving to always be the best parent that we can be, and even the best version of a woman and a mother. So I thank you, Marilyn, for joining me. I will be seeing you later. Happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Peace out. All right, you all. I want to thank you so much. I will be seeing you next month, which is, we're in May. So I will see you June. So you have a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day to all my mothers and my bonus mothers out there, and people that take care of children that you probably didn't birth yourself, but you love them and you make sure that you keep them safe. All right. I'm your girl, Kasaira LV. This is Conversations We Don't Have, Escaping Jezebel's Web. Catch you next conversation. Peace out.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.